Halo pemirsa, Anda kembali menyimak Asia Calling yang menyajikan ragam peristiwa yang terjadi di Asia. Dalam program kali ini, kami menampilkan diskusi Asean untuk. Tahun depan, 10 negara yang bentuk asosiasi negara-negara Asia Tenggara atau Asean berjanji untuk bersatu menjadi pasar regional dan basis produksi tunggal. Tujuannya adalah untuk menciptakan kawasan bebas distribusi barang, jasa, investasi, tenaga kerja terampil, dan aliran modal. Apakah penyatuan ini menguntungkan mayoritas penduduk yang tinggal di kawasan ASEAN? Asia Calling menghadirkan para pakar di bidangnya untuk hadir dalam diskusi ASEAN on the Move. Debat ini berlangsung di gedung ASEAN Foundation di Jakarta dan dipandu langsung oleh Rebecca Henschke.
So I'll start with you, Danny, if I can, because we've seen that surveys have shown that millions of people, perhaps many in the audience, don't really have an idea what this ASEAN United Community is meant to look like. It's talked about as next year being a very formative year, but I'm really hoping that you can start us off with something succinct that will give us an idea of what this community will look like and what will it mean for our daily lives.
I would say that, telling the ASEAN story is something very challenging for a lot of media, a lot of journalists. Like when we talk about the ASEAN economic community, we're talking about, having a market of more than 600 million people. We talk about combined GDP of 2.4 trillion. Now, when we look at all these numbers, sometimes it's easy to think, so how are they relevant? Are they even relevant to the people in my country? That is one of the questions.
And what is your answer, Danny?
Yes, and my answer is, if we look at the growth of ASEAN over the past few years, you look at the inflow of FDI, I think that answers a lot of the questions. That is so you feel safe that you're in a community of families. That did not come by chance. Understand that. Then, of course, when you talk about the economic community itself, yes, there'll be specific opportunities, and with opportunities comes challenges.
Okay, we'll get into the challenges and opportunities more. So you're talking about a region that's not at war with itself. We're talking about a more harmonious union, and you mentioned the economic cooperation as two elements that are concrete ideas of this united family. Is that how you see it, Septani? Is that the two sort of successes of ASEAN and things that we can concretely be proud of as we move to a closer family?
When we talk about ASEAN, we need to first look into the very basic issue of ASEAN is the people. Because we are establishing an ASEAN community that begins with the people. In this regard, being an ASEANer, being an Indonesian, and for having been involved in ASEAN issues for quite some time, I see that the most important element in establishing an ASEAN community is to get the people way up to the grassroots to understand about ASEAN. And I think this is what we have not done too much on that. There should be a mutual understanding among the peoples of ASEAN, which we need to develop.
Why will it benefit them? Why should someone care about ASEAN or make the effort to understand it, do you think?
Yeah, because this has been the dream of all the founding fathers of ASEAN way back in 1967. They had a dream that one day ASEAN will become an ASEAN community where people will be close to each other, they would understand each other. Like one day, we hope to see, like people will always say, I'm a European for the EU people. I'm a European when he or she is in Indonesia, for instance. Then one day we will say, I'm an ASEANer. This is what we want to hear in the future, near future.
Is that how you would describe yourself, Edia? Would you describe yourself as an ASEANer? Could you see a point where you would introduce yourself as, say, hi, I'm an ASEANer?
I don't have that kind of mindset yet to introduce myself with ASEAN brand. I still feel I'm Indonesian. Perhaps not yet.
So how do you see, as a businessman who's expanding into the region already, how aware are you, or what do you want to see from a united ASEAN family?
Okay, first of all, my business is a borderless business. Multimedia by nature is borderless. I can have work done in Mexico with the art director here and the scriptwriter in the United States, and we have been doing that for many, many years. So as far as business goes, I don't know how much this new policy will affect the business. It does, however, may affect the movement of the workers. Maybe, I don't know, it could be easy. I don't know the exact policy yet, but I think for workers here in Indonesia, probably it will be easier for them to move from one country to another.